What if I told you that the love of your life has already been chosen? Not by fate, but by the deepest, most hidden part of your own mind. Your unconscious psyche already knows who they are, even if your conscious mind has no clue. The legendary psychologist Carl Jung uncovered a secret about love so powerful it will completely shatter your understanding of every relationship you've ever had. I must warn you, what I am about to reveal will force you to see your past and present loves in a completely new light. It will finally explain that agonizing, empty feeling you've had in relationships that seemed perfect on paper, that spiritual ache that told you something was missing. Before we dive into these transformative secrets, I have a quick question. A huge number of people who find life-changing value in these videos aren't actually subscribed. If you're seeking deeper truths, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the wisdom that could be waiting for you in the next video. And if you feel a connection to this message, please give this video a like. Also, I want to see how far Carl Jung's incredible teachings can reach. So comment below and let me know what part of the world you're watching from. Now, prepare yourself. There is an invisible force, a hidden code within you that acts like a cosmic magnet, pulling you toward the one person you need to become whole. Jung called this the Anima and Animus, and it's influencing your love life right now, whether you know it or not. But here is the tragic truth. Most people will go their entire lives ignoring these signs, chasing superficial wants instead of what their soul desperately needs. And when I say soul, I'm not talking about some cheap Hollywood romance. I'm talking about a force so profound it can fundamentally reshape the very core of your being. Stay with me to discover the 5 signs that prove you've found them. For over 40 years studying the human psyche, Jung observed patterns that repeated over and over in his patients. He discovered that those who found true love, the love that truly changed their lives, experienced certain specific signs that most people overlooked or misinterpreted. These are not coincidences or romantic fantasies, but real manifestations of deep archetypal forces operating in the most primitive layers of our brain. The first sign that you have found the love of your life is something Jung described as the activation of your archetypal counterpart. This goes far beyond what popular psychology understands as compatibility. In every man, there is an unconscious feminine element that Jung called the anima, and in every woman, there is an unconscious masculine element, the animus. These are not abstract concepts floating in the air, but real, measurable forces through neurological and hormonal changes that influence every decision you make about love. Jung discovered that a man's anima develops primarily through his early experiences with significant female figures, especially his mother. But it doesn't stop at that first impression. It evolves throughout life, integrating elements from all significant feminine experiences. The animus in women follows a similar but opposite pattern, developing primarily through experiences with masculine figures. When you meet the love of your life, something extraordinary happens on a neurological level. This person naturally and effortlessly activates your anima, or your animus. I'm not talking about superficial physical attraction that can fade after a few weeks. I'm talking about a resonance that occurs in the deepest layers of your being, in those areas of the brain that Jung called the collective unconscious. You feel as if this person awakens parts of you that you didn't even know existed. Suddenly, you begin to express aspects of your personality that have been dormant for years, perhaps decades. A man might discover an emotional sensitivity that he has, suppressed since childhood. A woman might find an inner strength and leadership ability she never knew she possessed. Have you noticed that some people can spend months or even years with you without making you feel truly known? They can tolerate you, perhaps even love you in some way. But there's an invisible barrier that never breaks. Whereas with others, from the very first encounter, you feel a strange familiarity, as if you've been waiting your whole life for that moment, as if you've finally come home after a long journey through unknown territory. This is neither coincidence nor romantic projection. It is your anima or animus recognizing its perfect counterpart, the missing piece of your psyche's puzzle. Jung observed that at this moment, the brain regions linked to deep memories are activated as if we were remembering something we had long forgotten. But be alert. Because here comes something crucial that most people overlook. This activation doesn't always feel pleasant. At first, in fact, it can be deeply unsettling. Jung found that when our deepest archetypes are touched, we experience what he called a constellation of complexes. This means that your entire psychic structure reorganizes to accommodate this new energy. It's as if someone has entered your psychological home and started rearranging the furniture without your permission. You might feel a strange mixture of fascination and fear, as if this person has the power to change you in ways you can't control or predict. And this is exactly where you need to pay attention. True love, the love of your life, does not leave you unchanged. It transforms you on an archetypal level. This transformation is not optional. You can't experience only the pleasant aspects of this activation. It's a complete package that includes the shaking of personality patterns you thought were fixed and immutable. Jung warned that many people run away at this exact moment, fearful of the intensity of the coming change. The second sign is closely related to what Jung considered the most crucial aspect of psychological development: the integration of the shadow. We all have a shadow, that part of ourselves that we have suppressed, denied, or rejected, because it doesn't fit the image we want to present to the world. The shadow contains not only our negative sides, but also our undeveloped potential, hidden talents, repressed passions, and most primitive instincts. During his decades of research, Jung discovered something fascinating. The shadow doesn't disappear when we ignore it. It becomes more powerful, more destructive, and starts sabotaging our relationships from the unconscious. Most relational conflicts, according to Jung, are not really about the superficial issues people argue about. They are about unintegrated shadow aspects projected onto the other person. When you meet the love of your life, something happens that most relationships never achieve. This person can see your shadow without running away from it. More than that, in a mysterious way, they help you integrate your shadow into your conscious personality in a healthy way. They don't judge you for your darker sides. They don't try to change or fix you. They simply accept the totality of your being with an understanding that goes beyond logic. Have you ever been with someone who made you feel like you could be completely yourself, even in your darkest or most problematic facets? I'm not talking about someone who begrudgingly tolerates your flaws out of martyrdom. I mean someone who somehow turns those flaws into strengths, or at least sees them in a completely different light. For example, your tendency to be overly critical, which sabotaged past relationships, suddenly becomes a valuable skill for improving situations. Your stubbornness, which others saw as an unbearable flaw, turns out to be admirable determination when directed toward constructive goals. Your excessive sensitivity, which has caused you so much pain, becomes an extraordinary tool for empathetic understanding. But be careful. This also means that this person will constantly challenge your ego. They will confront you, not in an aggressive or destructive way, but in such a way that you are forced to face parts of yourself you would rather keep hidden. If someone in your life does this naturally and with love, without becoming your enemy in the process, you should pay attention. This could be one of the clearest signs of true love. This confrontation doesn't feel like an attack. It's an invitation to grow, to expand, and to become a more complete version of yourself. Jung observed that conflicts in such transformative relationships do not destroy the connection, but deepen it, because both intuitively understand that they are participating in a sacred process of mutual growth. The third sign is perhaps the most mysterious and powerful of all: synchronicity. Jung developed this concept after years of observing that certain seemingly unrelated events appeared to be connected by something more than mere chance. He defined synchronicity as meaningful coincidences that point to the existence of a deeper order in the universe, an order that transcends the laws of cause and effect. When it comes to the love of your life, these synchronicities multiply exponentially and take on increasingly complex and improbable forms. I'm not talking about simple coincidences, like a chance meeting at the same coffee shop. I'm referring to an orchestrated sequence of seemingly impossible events that seem to conspire to bring you together in a way that defies any rational explanation. Jung documented cases where his patients experienced chains of synchronicities so complex that he calculated the mathematical probability of their random occurrence. In some cases, the probability was 1 in several million. These could be repeated encounters in places where neither of you should logically have been. Connections through third parties who had no idea you should meet, or even dreams and premonitions that manifested in reality in an uncannily precise way. But the synchronicities connected to the love of your life have certain characteristics that distinguish them from ordinary coincidences. First, they tend to intensify at times of crisis or during important decisions in the relationship. Second, they often involve symbols or images that have deep personal meaning for both people. Third, they often contain elements that seem to come from completely strange sources, unrelated to your conscious life. Jung believed that synchronicities are signs that we are aligned with our individual destiny, with what he called the archetypal self, the fullest and most authentic version of ourselves. When you experience a chain of synchronicities revolving around a particular person, your unconscious is sending you a clear message. This person plays a central role in your process of individuation. Have you noticed that with certain people, synchronicities happen almost constantly, as if the universe itself is actively working to keep you connected, creating encounters that go beyond any conscious planning, as if there is a higher intelligence orchestrating events to ensure your paths cross again and again. But here's the fascinating part. These synchronicities don't stop once you're together. On the contrary, they intensify and evolve into more subtle but equally powerful forms. You begin to experience what Jung called participation mystique, a psychic connection that goes beyond the rational explanations of modern neuroscience. You might often have the same thought at the same time, far more frequently than would be statistically explainable. You might have similar or complementary dreams without having discussed them beforehand. You might have intuitive perceptions about the other's state that turn out to be uncannily accurate, as if you share a kind of common emotional radar. Jung documented cases where partners separated by thousands of kilometers experienced physical sensations at the same time when the other was in danger or pain. This is not fantasy or autosuggestion, but measurable phenomena that Jung studied meticulously for decades. This mystical participation is not emotional dependence or codependence. It is something much deeper. It's as if you have found a common frequency that allows you to perceive each other on levels beyond normal verbal or physical communication. The fourth sign is closely connected to what Jung considered the supreme achievement of his work, the archetypes of the collective unconscious. According to Jung, there are universal patterns of behavior and experience in each of us, shared with all of humanity. These archetypes include figures like the lover, the sage, the warrior, the great mother, the wise father, the eternal child, the trickster, and many others. Jung discovered that most people activate only a fraction of the archetypes available to them. This creates a constant feeling of incompleteness, as if we are playing only a few instruments in a grand orchestra. Life feels limited and repetitive, as if we are always playing the same role without access to the full repertoire of our humanity. When you find the love of your life, you discover that this person acts as a master key, simultaneously and harmoniously activating multiple archetypes within you. They awaken not only your lover, but can also bring forth your inner sage, your protective caregiver, your intrepid adventurer, your creative artist, or any other archetypal aspect necessary for your complete growth. This manifests in very concrete and observable ways. You might become braver than you ever thought possible, more compassionate towards others, more creative in your work, wiser in your decisions, or more playful in your daily life. Not because you are playing a role or trying to be someone else, but because their presence, literally, activates hidden potentials in your psychic structure. Jung noted that in truly transformative relationships, both partners serve as catalysts for the realization of each other's highest archetypes. It's as if each of you holds the secret combination to unlock the other's hidden treasures. Treasures that might have been locked away for years or decades. Have you ever been with someone who makes you feel like your best self, effortlessly? Not because you want to impress them or are playing a role, but because their mere presence brings out aspects of your personality you didn't know existed. Like a piano that has finally found the musician who can play all its keys. This archetypal activation has profound effects on your daily life. Your creativity grows, your leadership strengthens, your intuition sharpens, your sense of humor develops, your courage to face challenges increases. It's as if this person has turned on lights in rooms of your personality that had been dark for years. But the
most profound aspect of this is that the archetypal activation is mutual and mutually reinforcing. Not only does this person bring out the best in you, you have the same transformative effect on them. Together, you create a field of psychic energy that allows both of you to become fuller, more authentic versions of yourselves. Jung observed that couples who experience this mutual archetypal activation often develop skills that neither possessed alone. Their combined intelligence exceeds the sum
of their individual intelligences. Their shared creativity surpasses what either could achieve alone. Their ability to solve problems, navigate crises, and create beauty in the world is multiplied exponentially. The fifth and final sign is perhaps the most important and transformative of all: the unmistakable feeling that you are living your personal myth with this person. Jung believed that each person is born with a unique myth, an archetypal narrative that gives meaning and purpose to our existence. This personal myth is not a story we consciously invent. It is a deep pattern that emerges from the collective unconscious and guides our development from birth to death. Most people live their lives without consciously engaging with this personal myth. They go through life as if they were actors in a play whose full script they never received. They know they are on stage, they know they must act, but they don't truly understand the larger story of which they are a part. When the love of your life appears, suddenly everything starts to make sense in a way that goes beyond intellectual understanding. This person not only fits into your story, their presence makes your story richer, more meaningful, and more complete. It's as if you had lived only half of your myth until now, and now you can finally see the complete narrative. Jung observed that when two people find this mythical resonance, they experience what he called the union of opposites. This is not about being identical or having no differences. It's about your differences complementing each other in a way that creates something greater than the sum of your individual parts. This doesn't mean your life up to now has had no value or meaning. It means that all your past experiences, including your deepest pains, your most devastating failures, and your most beautiful successes, are suddenly revealed as necessary chapters that prepared you precisely for this encounter. Every trauma becomes wisdom. Every loss turns out to be preparation for something better. Every moment of loneliness is understood as the time when you developed the inner strength you need for this connection. Jung called this the process of individuation, the path of becoming who you are truly meant to be. He observed that for most people this process reaches its peak through the encounter with the so-called significant other, the person who acts as a catalyst for the full unfolding of your potential. Have you ever felt that your life with a certain person takes on a deeper, almost mystical meaning, as if all the scattered pieces of your experiences suddenly come together in a coherent and beautiful pattern, as if this person is not just an addition to your life, but the missing piece of the puzzle that makes your existence complete? But here is something crucial to understand, something that separates those who are truly ready for the love of their lives from those who continue to search for superficial substitutes. Recognizing these signs requires a level of self-awareness and emotional honesty that most people actively avoid. It is much easier to stay on the surface and focus on obvious similarities like shared interests, physical attraction, financial stability, or social approval than to dive into the archetypal depth of a connection. Jung warned that most people flee from true love because it demands too much growth, too much transformation, and too much honesty about who we really are beyond our carefully constructed social masks. Archetypal love, the love of your life, does not allow you to remain small, comfortable, or hidden. It constantly challenges you to evolve, to face your shadows, and to integrate aspects of yourself that you would rather keep separate and under control. This type of love demands letting go of the illusion of control over your life and identity. It requires trust in processes that go beyond your rational understanding. It requires faith in transformations that you cannot consciously direct. Are you truly ready for such a degree of change? Are you ready for someone to see all your vulnerabilities, all your imperfections, all your deepest fears, and for their love for you not to diminish, but to deepen because of them? Are you ready to do the same for another person? Because if these 5 signs are present in your life right now, do not ignore them out of fear or attachment to familiar but limiting patterns. Your unconscious is trying to tell you something profound about your destiny and your process of individuation. It is trying to show you a path to a version of yourself you didn't even know was possible. Jung did not see love as a fleeting feeling or a transient emotion that comes and goes depending on external circumstances. He saw it as an archetypal force, a transformative energy, with the power to completely reorder your psychic structure and lead you to the realization of your full potential. This force follows laws that transcend ordinary logic. It does not respond to manipulation or control. It cannot be forced or created artificially. It can only be recognized, honored, and accepted when it authentically appears in your life. Jung also observed something that might surprise you. The deepest connections often begin in ways that defy our conventional romantic expectations. They can emerge from friendships that gradually deepen. They can arise from apparent conflicts that reveal deeper similarities. They can grow in situations where both people are completely focused on something other than romance. Archetypal love rarely arrives with the dramatic staging we expect from movies. Instead, it reveals itself gradually, like a dawn, imperceptibly turning darkness into light. It takes time for the archetypes to fully activate, for the synchronicities to multiply, for the shadows to be integrated in a healthy way. These 5 signs are not a guarantee that the relationship will be easy or free of challenges. On the contrary, Jung found that the deepest connections often involve more conflict, more growth, and more transformation than superficial relationships. But they also offer something that no other human experience can give: the opportunity to become who you are truly meant to be. With the activation of your anima or animus, the healthy integration of your shadow, the multiplication of significant synchronicities, the activation of multiple archetypes, and the feeling of living your personal myth. These are the signs by which your unconscious tells you that you have found something sacred, something that goes beyond ordinary love and enters the realm of spiritual transformation. You now possess the map. The signs have been revealed, and the path to the most profound connection a human can experience is no longer hidden from you. The choice you now face is not made in darkness, but in the full light of this ancient wisdom. Do not let the fear of transformation cause you to turn away from this moment. Do not let the deceptive comfort of old patterns convince you that you deserve anything less than a love that awakens your very soul. Your psyche knows the truth, even if your mind still echoes with doubt. The real question is, will you have the courage to listen? To honor the truth that resonated with you today, I want you to do one thing for me right now. In the comments below, write the one sign that struck you the most. Was it the shadow, synchronicity, anima? Let me know which sign your soul recognized instantly. If this journey into the heart of Jung's wisdom has illuminated your path, show your support by giving this video a like. It helps this knowledge reach others who are searching. And for those of you who feel a calling to go deeper, a surprising number of viewers who find value here are not yet subscribed. To ensure you don't miss our next exploration into the mysteries of the human spirit, hit that subscribe button now and join us on this transformative journey. Remember, the love of your life is not just a person. They are a portal to the most powerful and authentic version of yourself. Have the courage to step through